like this, melodies, who were infused with the presence of Prabhupada. Automatically we remember Prabhupada immediately. Prabhupada comes in the heart. And it is something that is very important for us, because Vrindavan is very rarely attained. Very, very, very rarely attained. Few people will attain Vrindavan. But when great Vaishnavas are present, there is a lot of mercy. And although devotees were not at all qualified, but not at all, most of them did not understand anything about Braj. But by the mercy of a Vaishnava, they were able to dance and to be in ecstasy and chant. This is the mercy of devotees. Even if you don't understand, there's an effect that's happening. It's not because you're chanting in ecstasy that you will necessarily attain Vrindavan, but it is the mercy of the Lord Nityananda. It is that He comes and He makes everyone dance. When we dance, we forget our caste, the fact that we're a man or a woman. If we really dance with a good attitude, for the pleasure of Krishna, that is why dancing is something that is very important. It is a very easy way to attain love of God. Devotees who have difficulty to dance, it's because there is a problem internally. We should simply surrender when we dance. It is a little bit like if you have death that comes to you or great danger. If you have a great danger that comes to you, so you take shelter very easily, because there's no alternative. You understand? In the same way, dancing is the same thing. If we take shelter in a spontaneous way in dancing, so all our problems are solved. All the problems of life are solved because we become happy. That is why dancing comes from a devotional attitude. As soon as mercy comes, so the devotee dances. And when he dances, the devotee, he does not consider if there's someone, he does not consider if he dances good or not. It is a dancing of the heart, spontaneous. And so why at this time there was naturally a special mercy? It's because Prabhupada was present. And Prabhupada came really as a friend, because the Brajbasis, so the eternal inhabitants of Vrindavan, they have a mood truly of friendship in their heart that is very, very deep, and which cannot be understood but only when we chant without offenses. The experience of a Brajbasi comes to take us, introduce us, is an experience that is unique, because we can understand what is friendship. We can understand what is to give our heart to someone. When people are perfect and they embrace all of our spiritual feelings, then they become our friends, because they understand exactly what we need, and they come to give us what we need. And this is an experience that cannot be done in this world, because in this world there will always be trying to understand details. There will be someone in an institution, there's always something. But in Vrindavan, when we experience pure chanting and a Brajbasi come to take us, so then we can understand what is friendship. So, to understand the position of Srila Prabhupada, to understand how Prabhupada came in this world, how Prabhupada came to irrigate, because it's like a flow, this friendship, we must chant without offenses. Even if someone was able to see, it doesn't mean that he tasted. We saw, for example, there was a devotee who served Prabhupada for many years. He left for 20 years, he stopped chanting for 20 years. It is a symptom that he saw, but he did not receive in his heart. It is a symptom. And this is why this friendship is always present. The Vaishnavas are always present in their memory. For example, in the melody that we chanted, the Vaishnavas are always present. And we can, at any time, understand them and experience those who came to search, for example. I will give you an example, like a simple example. I'll give you a simple example. When we chant without offenses, we can realize our Svarup and be introduced in the pastimes of Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. It is possible. Although we have a physical body, but don't think that you cannot experience what the devotees in the year 65, 66, 67 experienced, because through the memory, Krishna can project someone in something that doesn't have physical existence, but that has an eternal existence. Don't think the pastimes of Prabhupada, it is something that have a beginning and an end. They are there, they are present. And someone can experience in his heart, through the pure chanting, and through the memory, the souvenir, the ecstasy and friendship that Prabhupada came to give us. It is a reality. After this, it is for certain devotees. There's so many different moods, so many great Vaishnavas. There are a lot of Vaishnavas, and many people, they absorb themselves in different relationships, etc., etc. But it is the same principle. The Supreme Lord can fulfill all desires. Which verse it is? So we will read a verse, first canto, chapter 15, verse 49. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Vidurum Pimpirim Chajam Babasedeham Atmanaham Krishnam Vishena Tachitam Pitri Visum Shayam Yayo. Translation: the peaceful mind, Vidura, with peaceful mind, who possessed a devotion, unmixed devotion for the Lord Krishna, abandoned his body in Prabhas. He came back to his own kingdom, escorted by the inhabitants of Pitriloka. Finding his position again, he accomplished the duty that the Lord had given him. purport. Vidura was an incarnation of the demigod Vyamaraj, who is responsible of the planet Prithviloka. He is in charge of judging impious people, sinful people. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that he is not an eternal associate of Krishna. So, he abandoned his body when he left the planet. During that time, the inhabitants of Prithviloka came to bring back to his abode Yamaraj. Svakshayat signifies his place of duty.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Kauravani Prachaline Nilve Shesha Sunyavadi Prachatya Dishatarine.
Do you have questions?
So,
Maharaj is asking this question. How is it that Yamaraj, although he is not an eternal associate of the Lord, can be introduced in the pastimes of the Lord?
Jai Shri Krishna, Balaram, Shri Sudam, Subhan Saka ki jai, Shri Radharani Mohan ki jai.
The principle is that everyone likes Krishna, everyone likes Radharani, everyone aspires to have a relationship with them. Because when we hear their glories, which is very rare, we become attracted. Even the expansions of Krishna, like Narayan, are attracted by Krishna. Even Lakshmi Devi, although she is a manifestation of Srimati, a partial manifestation of Srimati Radharani, she aspires for the pastimes of Srimati Radharani. So if the Lord Himself desires to embrace Himself, to taste Himself, what to say of others? So it is a special mercy when Krishna comes. All those who have love for Him, all those who cherish a desire to be able to enjoy with Him, so they come. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sanatana Goswami, they explain that everything comes from Golok Vrindavan and everything expands on different levels. So, for example, if we take the eternal associates like Bhishma, we know that Bhishma has a partial manifestation as a demigod. So the truth can be understood in two angles. At the same time, it can be separated, and they don't have any eternal positions, but at the same time, they have a counter-truth, like an eternal truth, because they find their origin in an associate of the Lord. So sometimes the Vaishnavas, they speak with the term that they are not an eternal associates of the Lord and they leave a body, and sometimes they reveal that there are two substances in one person. This is why, for example, when the associates of the Lord, they killed each other, in the end of the pastimes of Dwarka, it is explained that the demigods, they left the body. The associates of the Lord in an invisible form, they already went to another place where Krishna will accomplish his pastimes again. So there are different ways to understand things. But the point is that naturally, even in Golok Vrindavan, it is explained that there are demigods. Everything that exists on this material level exists on a transcendental platform. It is very difficult to understand. But in the commentaries of the great acharyas, they explain that even in Golok Vrindavan, there are demigods who control senses. Can you believe it? All of this, there are things that are inconceivable. That means that at some point, our reason cannot understand how it is possible. This is why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that a true sage is confused, not a false sage. The false sage, he thinks he has the absolute truth. It is a sort of illusion. His consciousness is covered by the Supreme Lord, so that he thinks he is omnipresent, omnipotent, the Lord himself. But the sage, he is still just one small person who has a relationship with Krishna and who depends upon what Krishna can reveal to him. No more, no less. So automatically Yamaraj, according to Srila Prabhupada, is a pure devotee, and he has a special position. And in this position, he can speak constantly with the Supreme Lord, because he must judge the living entities. Who besides the Lord can understand what the person did? Because he accompanies all living entities in the form of the Supreme Soul. So when Yamaraj judges a living entity, the Lord tells him everything that the person did. It is explained that there are also scribes in Vrindavan. But it is a way, how to say, it is like an external manifestation of the Super Soul. What can he do if the Lord doesn't reveal to him? Another question? You raised your hand in the back. Vidura is eternal. Vidura is eternal. For example, Sudam, he says, is it revealed? The position of Vidura, who you said, in the spiritual world? But Vidura is an eternal associate of the Supreme Lord. So this pastime, it manifests in one universe, and then it happens in another universe, and then the next universe. And also, on the planets in Dwarka, he has an eternal position also. Even Kamsa exists in Golok Vrindavan. The Asuras exist in Golok Vrindavan. Everything exists. It appears in a certain way in Boma Vrindavan, in the pastimes and the universes, just like it will be new. But in reality, everything is on the platform of eternity. The point is, here it is said, Yamaraj, he comes back to his planet in Pitriloka. Pitriloka. In reality, it's very interesting, this planet. That's what we call the planet of the ancestors. Pitriloka. Pitri are ancestors. And in most religions, in reality, they worship the ancestors. Their goal is to take birth again with their family, the same family. The Christians, for example, when you see Christian movies, Christian documentaries, they see themselves with their family. The Jews also, the same.
Les musulmans, pareil.
The Muslims also the same.
Et Vishwanath
Chakravarti Thakur
révèle
reveals
dans un commentaire,
in a commentary,
et j'ai trouvé ça vraiment intéressant,
and I found that very
que
interesting.
ceux qui
It's that
sont
those
dans ces formes
who are in these forms
donc d'adoration,
of worship, where they worship the Lord,
avec leur famille,
take
etc.,
birth with their family, etc.
il existe cette planète
There exists this planet that we call
où les
Pitriloka,
êtres vont et
where living
renaissent dans leur
entities, they
famille.
go and they take birth
C'est
in the
incroyable.
same family.
Et quand leur
And
somme
when
d'activités pieuses
the sum of their pious activities
ils
finished,
renaissent sur la terre
they
dans
take
leur
birth
famille.
again on earth in their family.
C'est comme un
It
cycle,
is like
en
a
fait.
cycle in
C'est
reality.
incroyable, hein.
It is incredible.
C'est très intéressant.
It's
Donc
really
ça existe
interesting.
vraiment, hein.
So it really
Il y a
exists.
une planète et des
And
nids
there's
pour
a
ces
heavenly
ces
planet for
personnes-là.
these
Ils
people.
reviennent sur la terre,
They come
ils
back on earth
recommencent,
and they start
parce qu'ils
again
naissent dans des familles pieuses.
because they take birth in
Comprenez?
pious families.
Donc en fait, ils recommencent cette adoration sans
So
fin.
they
sans
start
fin,
again
sans
this
fin, sans fin.
worship.
C'est incroyable, hein.
There's no end. It's incredible.
Et parce que souvent,
Because
on se
sometimes
dit ouais, mais quand même,
we
c'est
say it
bizarre,
is
parce que,
weird.
on les voit dans le même corps.
We see them in the same
Ça, c'est une
body.
spéculation,
This
bien
is a
sûr, parce que sur les
speculation.
planètes édéniques,
Because in the
on n'a
heavenly
pas des
planets,
corps
we don't
aussi
have
moches que
bodies
ceux
that
sur
are
la
as
Terre.
ugly on earth
C'est
as
des
on
corps
earth.
très beaux.
They are bodies that are very beautiful.
Et c'est une vie beaucoup plus
And it is a
élevée,
life
mais
that
c'est
is
quelque
much
chose
more
qui existe.
elevated, but
De
it's
la même
something that
manière,
exists.
Lorsqu'on chante
In the same way, when we chant
et qu'on se rappelle
and we
notre
remember
demeure éternelle,
our eternal abode,
alors graduellement,
so gradually
le souvenir
the remembrance
apparaît
appears
en l'être
in
vivant.
the living entity.
C'est quelque chose d'extrêmement
It is something
mystique,
that is extremely mystical
parce que le dévot,
because the devotee,
par l'attachement qu'il
through
a
the
à
attachments that he has for Krishna
Krishna, et par le
and
sentiment
by
que
the feeling
Krishna a
that
éveillé dans son
Krishna
dévot,
evolved in his devotee,
comment dire,
how
de
to
sa
say,
véritable personnalité, parce que
of his true
l'attachement à
personality,
Krishna
because
peut pas
attachment
être
for Krishna
dissocié de la
cannot be
condition
dissociated
éternelle.
from
C'est pas
the
possible.
eternal condition.
Quand il y a un attachement à
When there's an
Krishna,
attachment
il y a une
to
prise
Krishna,
de position de
there's a
l'éternité.
taking
C'est-à-dire
of
qu'on ressent
as
cet
the
attachement
steps of being
dans
in the position
l'éternité.
of eternity. That means we
C'est
feel
pas
that,
possible, ça peut
but
pas
in
être
eternity.
dissocié.
It's
C'est
not
pour ça
possible. It
qu'à
cannot be
Shakti, c'est le
dissociated.
stade où il y a
Because
une
that's why in
pointe
Ashakti, this
de
is the
lucidité
stage
sur
where there's
notre
a
réalité
glimpse
éternelle.
of,
Quand l'attachement pour
of
Krishna apparaît,
experience about our
automatiquement,
eternal
ça fait
reality. When
apparaître
Krishna
notre
appears,
réalité.
automatically it makes our
C'est
reality
quelque
appear.
chose qui est mystique.
It is something that is mystical.
Donc automatiquement,
So automatically,
plus on progresse dans cet
the more we
attachement,
progress
plus
in
on
this
devient
attachment,
conscient de notre éternité, et plus on peut visionner ce
the
que
more we can
Krishna fait.
become conscious of our eternity, the more we can become conscious of what
Par
Krishna
exemple,
is
une fois,
doing.
on
It
avait
is
demandé à
like a platform.
Prabhupada,
Like one
qu'est-ce que
time
fait
we asked
Krishna?
Prabhupada,
Là, il
Prabhupada, what
disait,
does Krishna
il est
do?
assis.
And Prabhupada said he is sitting now.
Et donc,
And so,
alors ça, c'est des grands
so they are
dévots.
great
Mais même
devotees.
à des stades
But
moins
even
élevés,
at lower stages,
le dévot, il peut être conscient de ce que
the devotee
Krishna
can
fait.
become conscious of
Parce que
Krishna
son
has done.
sentiment, son attachement,
Because his
fait que
feeling, his attachment,
il devient lié
make
à
him
Krishna. Et Krishna devient
connection
lié
to
avec
Krishna,
lui.
connected to
Donc,
Krishna, and
plus
Krishna
c'est
becomes
présent
connected
et
also.
plus c'est
So the
fort,
more it is
et
present and the more it is
plus
strong,
Krishna,
and the more Krishna
l'appelle,
is
comprenez,
calling
dans ses
us,
divertissements.
is
Et
calling
bien
the
que
person in
le
his
dévot
pastimes.
soit présent
So although the devotee
sur
is
la
present
terre,
on
il est
earth,
à la fois
he is at the same
dans
time
le monde
in the
transcendant. Et ça,
transcendental
c'est
world.
quelque chose qui est très mystique.
And this is
Sans
something
ça,
that
il y
is
aurait
very
toujours
mystical.
une contamination
Otherwise, there will
matérielle dans
always
ce
be a
vivant.
material contamination in the living entity.
Pour que la contamination
For
matérielle
material contamination
complètement
to
se
completely
dissoudre,
dissolve
il faut
itself,
que l'être vivant il ait
there's
la
a need for the living
possibilité
entity
d'avoir la conscience
to have
ailleurs,
the consciousness
en
somewhere else in Vrindavan.
Donc, la
So,
vie à Vrindavan
life in
ne dépend pas
Vrindavan
d'un lieu géographique.
does not depend on
Par
a
exemple,
geographical
Les
place.
Brajbasis,
For example, the
alors,
Brajbasis,
ce qu'on appelle les
what we call the
Brajbasis,
Brajbasis,
sur la terre,
on earth,
les habitants de Vrindavan,
the inhabitants of
terrestres,
Vrindavan,
pas
terrestrial,
les éternels habitants de Vrindavan.
and the eternal inhabitants
Parfois,
of Vrindavan.
ils confondent
Sometimes
cet
they
aspect.
mix this aspect.
Et moi, j'ai vraiment vu ça physiquement.
And me, I really saw that physically.
Des sadhus qui te
Sadhus
disent que si tu vis
who
pas
tell you
physiquement
that
à
if you don't live
Vrindavan,
physically in
tu peux pas atteindre
Vrindavan,
la
you cannot attain
c'est
perfection.
impossible.
It is impossible for them.
Et beaucoup pensent ça.
And many think like
Donc,
that. Many Vaishnav sects think like that. That means that if you're angry in Vrindavan, you lost everything. If you leave Vrindavan, you lose everything. But the mercy of Radharani is to roll ourselves in the dust of Vrindavan and drink the water of the Yamuna and beg the food from the Brajbasis. This is what they're trying to attain. Otherwise, it's finished. According to them, you cannot develop love of God. It's not a joke. I personally saw and heard that. So it's really interesting, because if we have the experience of Krishna, we know it's false. Otherwise, it's not easy. So you go on the holy dam, we'll make our hair grow, and we can do dreadlocks and stay in the place to do bhajan. But Vrindavan is not a geographical place, it's a state of mind, a consciousness. When we serve our spiritual master, when we serve Srila Prabhupada, with a faith that through their mercy we can obtain Vrindavan, because in their heart Vrindavan, because their heart is Vrindavan. The connection with the spiritual master through the teachings and the service will reveal Vrindavan. But it is a mystical experience, because we can be thousands of kilometers away from Vrindavan, and when we can be present physically, in Vrindavan in the material world. But Vrindavan is never really in the material world, it's always transcendental. That is why the mercy of Radharani, it is particular, because as soon as we feel through the mercy of the acharyas that we belong to, so it manifests Vrindavan to save his devotee. And this is an extraordinary experience. As soon that we think about the mercy of Radharani, as soon as we obtain this mercy by the grace of the Vaishnavas, of the Guru, Srila Prabhupada, automatically we become transported in this place where we can hear, see, taste Krishna. It is a principle. Even without chanting, it's just a mercy. It's like a flow that comes down, and we absorb ourselves in the meditation, in fact. Of course, all the angas, the branches of bhakti, can give prema. But by the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the disciplic succession, we consider that the best method is the chanting. We consider that the best method is the chanting. But sometimes we can experience things that are extraordinary. Even throughout the service, when we wash dishes or we write books, or can be in any situation, remembrance can come. Because memory of Krishna, remembrance of Krishna, it does not depend on us, it depends on His mercy. When Radha and Krishna desire to give a particular grace or mercy to a devotee, so no matter what, if you chant or sleep or if you eat, whatever, which place you can be, even in the Paris metro, so you can absorb yourself completely in samadhi. You can be completely absorbed in sweet feelings of love. This is why Braj, remembrance of Braj, is it's a very special mercy, because the dust of Vrindavan, the earth of Vrindavan, is no ordinary land. Can you believe it, that this land is drinking from from the flute of Krishna. Can you meditate on this? It is something that is extraordinary. The other day I was meditating on this. Even a small speck of dust of Vrindavan can collect the sound of Krishna's flute. Because in Vrindavan, the living entities are not inert. The land of Vrindavan is not inert. It is a person, and she can absorb herself in sweet feelings. It is something that is extraordinary. That's why great Vaishnavas, they speak about Vrindavan like a land that can fulfill all desires. Braj, it is an extraordinary place where the footprints of Srimati Radharani are everywhere. Everywhere she shines. Everywhere this place is shining with mercy. So, Braj is something that we receive in our heart. It is something that we meditate upon, something that we pray for, something that we consider like the most elevated goal, beyond all scriptures, beyond all rules. In Braj, there's no rule. The only rule is love. It's the only rule, it's love. We live of only one thing, the smile of Krishna, his sweet words, his way of moving, of dressing himself, of making jokes. We live only for that. The rest has no importance whatsoever. This is why Braj is simply a prayer and something that cannot be attained even through chanting. It is attained only through Kripa. You can distribute books, cook. Nothing will allow you to attain Vrindavan except Kripa. And Kripa is what? It comes through an intense feeling. An intense feeling of not being able to live without her. Vrindavan is Radharani. It's not Krishna, it's Radharani. It is the place where Radharani is the queen and Krishna is the servant. But since it is so elevated, even the Bhagavatam is opposite, revert, because it's not possible for people to understand. It is hidden. This understanding is hidden in the Bhagavatam. It is so elevated that it is hidden from the Vedas. What does it mean? It means that the origin of everything, Krishna, Govinda, he considers that his good fortune, that he attained good fortune when he can touch the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, that he puts them on his heart. And Krishna says, I am so fortunate. So fortunate. This is Braj. But who can attain such a position, to see such pastime? It is not possible. These people, these living entities, they have unlimited qualification. So when we start to understand how much we are fallen, and we let go of everything, of wanting to be a GBC, a guru, whatever you want, that we let go of everything, and there's only these two hands and these tears that come, and we're just begging for that mercy. And the rest is just like something that smells bad, like an illusion. When there's only these two hands and our two hands and our tears, and we're ready to let go of everything. So Kripa starts to come. This is why in Braj, they pray for the mercy of Radharani. Everyone chants Radha, 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 Radha. They don't stop us from chanting Radha's name.
Krishna lui-même
Krishna
chante
himself,
Radha, Radha.
he chants
Tout le
Radha
temps,
Radha.
Radha, Radha, Radha.
Always Radha Radha Radha.
Il s'absorbe.
He absorbs himself in her
Radharani, elle
name.
s'absorbe dans le nom de Krishna.
And Radharani, she absorbs herself in the name of Krishna.
Donc,
So,
c'est un monde
it
difficile à
is
comprendre.
a world
parce
that
qu'il y a
is
pas de
difficult to understand
Les règles
because there are no
empêchent
rules.
d'atteindre
Rules,
Vrindavan. La seule règle,
they
c'est Radha.
stop us from attaining Vrindavan.
Une fois
The
que la
only thing
miséricorde
to
Radharani,
is the mercy,
elle commence à
kripa.
couler, alors
Once
vous
the mercy
sortez
of
de la
Radharani starts
conception.
to flow upon you, so you get out of the concept of institution.
C'est fini.
It is finished.
Et là, vous pouvez
And then you
comprendre
can
que
understand
Prabhupada, c'est votre
that
ami.
Prabhupada is your friend, not before.
Avant, vous pouvez
Before,
même vous
you
servir
can even
du nom de
use the
Prabhupada,
name of
de sa
Prabhupada,
forme,
his
tout
form,
ce qu'il a fait pour
everything
avoir
he
une
did
position.
to have a position yourself.
Jai Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada.
Mais quand cette miséricorde
But when
vient,
this mercy
à
comes,
ce moment-là, vous voyez
then you
qui est
see
Prabhupada.
who is
Vous
Prabhupada.
voyez votre ami.
You see your
Et
friend.
là, vous vous faites plus jamais
And
avoir
you'll never be caught,
par toutes ces choses de ce monde.
tricked by all the things in this world.
Il y a beaucoup de pièges.
There are many traps in this world.
Beaucoup.
Many, many traps.
Tellement de gens
So
parlent de
many
Prabhupada.
people, they speak about Prabhupada.
Tellement.
So many.
Le Prabhupada, c'est un
But
personnage
Prabhupada
tellement élevé,
is
tellement cher à
a
Srimati
personality that
Radharani.
is so elevated, so
C'est
dear
ça
to
que
Srimati
Prabhupada est venu
Radharani.
donner.
That's what
Beaucoup
Prabhupada
comprennent
came to
pas.
give us.
Et c'est normal.
Many don't understand.
C'est tellement
It's normal, it
élevé
is so
que
elevated.
Prabhupada est venu
But
donner.
Prabhupada came to give.
Et même si
And even if
dans sa forme
in his form,
visible,
his visible
il a
form,
prêché très
he
basiquement,
preached very basically.
parce que c'est très basique,
Because it is really
mais
basic.
son cœur
But his
est
heart
très élevé.
is very
Donc,
elevated.
même à travers des choses très basiques, on
So
peut
even
atteindre
through
quelque
very
chose
basic
très
things, we
élevé.
can attain something
ceux
very
qui
elevated.
Quand ils entendent
Besides
parler
those who sleep all the time when they hear about the mercy.
Il y a parfois une
Sometimes there is a
incompréhension.
misunderstanding.
Vous avez
You
des
have
gens à Vraj,
People in Braj,
et c'est vrai,
and that's
c'est
true.
pas une naissance
It's not
ordinaire.
an ordinary birth.
Ils peuvent parler
They
de
can
choses
speak
très
about
élevées.
very elevated things.
Nityavya,
Nitya Vihad,
les divertissements intimes.
the
dans la
intimate
vie.
pastimes of Radha and Krishna.
Il y a des sectes
There are
Vaishnavas
Vaishnav
qui ne parlent
sects
que de ça.
that speak about that, only about that.
Et j'écoutais quelque chose sur
And I was
Bhaktisiddhanta.
listening something about Bhakti
Qu'est-ce que
Siddhanta.
veut dire d'après vous
What
ça,
does it mean according to you, Sahajiya?
associé éternel de Krishna?
Eternal associate of Krishna, it means.
C'est Prakrita Sahaja.
It is
une
Prakrita
apparence
Sahajiya,
d'associé
that's
éternel
not
de
good.
Krishna.
It's an
Quand ils se
appearance
déguisent
of
en
an
copie,
associate
etc.,
of Krishna when they
Et
disguise
Sahaja,
themselves in
Ça
gopis,
veut dire
etc.
les
etc.
associés éternels de Krishna.
But Sahajiya means
C'est
an
pour ça que quand
eternal
les dévotés
associate
disent
of
un
Krishna.
Sahaja, ils
So that's
savent
why
pas
when
ce que ça veut
devotees say, oh, he's a Sahajiya,
bah,
they
ça-
don't know what it
Vous
means.
comprenez le
Do you
point?
understand the point?
Prakrita Sahaja.
Prakrita
Bhakta.
Sahajiya,
Une
Prakrita
apparence
Bhakta.
de Bhakta. Prakrita
An
Sahaja,
appearance
une
of
apparence
Bhakta.
d'associé éternel. C'est
An
pour ça.
appearance of the eternal associate of the Lord.
Et c'est vrai qu'à Vraj,
And that's true that
il y a
in
des
Braj,
êtres vraiment
there are living entities that are
extraordinaires
really
qui sont nés
extraordinary,
dans des grandes
that
familles,
took
qui
birth in
sont
great
des
families,
aristocrates.
that
Vraiment,
are
vous
very
les
like
voyez, c'est vraiment
aristocrats,
impressionnant. Ils ont
and
une
it's very
connaissance et
impressive.
une
They have
manière de se
so
comporter.
much knowledge and a
tellement
way of
bien.
behaving that is so wonderful.
Et dû à
And
leur
because of their
karma,
karma,
hein, ils peuvent s'absorber dans des choses très
they
élevées.
can absorb themselves in things that are very elevated.
Et parfois, les
And
Occidentaux,
sometimes
quand
the
ils rentrent en
Westerners,
contact avec ces
when they
choses,
come in contact with these things,
et bien sûr, il y a toujours
of
de sortes
course,
de querelles
there's
entre
always
les
a
institutions.
kind of quarrel
Alors,
between
ils peuvent
institutions,
penser
so they
que
can think that
une sorte de Vaishnavisme et
one
l'autre
type of
sont
Vaishnavism
différents.
and the other are different,
Qu'ils donnent quelque chose de
that they give
différent.
something
Il y en a
different.
un, c'est pour le CP,
So one is for
et il
CP,
y en a un, c'est pour Bac plus
the other is for like a higher
Mais on ne devrait jamais
topic.
considérer
So we should never consider
de telles insertions
such
comme la vérité.
opinions like the truth.
Ce qui compte, c'est
Why?
ce que
Because
le
what's
sadhu a dans
what's
son cœur.
important is what the sadhu has in his heart.
Qu'il explique quelque chose de
That
simple,
he explains something
qu'il
simple,
explique quelque chose de très élevé,
whether he
parce que
explains something
l'audience
simple or very
est
elevated,
qualifiée pour
because
ça.
the audience is qualified
Son
for
cœur
that, his
reste
heart
le même.
stays the same.
Sa position
His
reste la
position
même.
stays the same.
Et lorsque le
And when the
disciple sincère
disciple, the
est
sincere
connecté,
disciple is connected, What does he receive in the heart? Does he receive the external words, or he receives the heart of the Vaishnava? The heart of a Vaishnava, no, it's the same. So that's why only neophytes, they quarrel amongst themselves. Not those who receive Radha Kripa. Those who receive Radha Kripa, they can understand. It's the same thing, but said differently. Because some are qualified to hear and some are not qualified. So the Kripa is in the heart of the sadhu. You understand? This is what a person should receive. So those who quarrel, it's because they're not qualified. They don't understand. Because they did not realize they are not in this position to receive Radha Kripa. You understand? We should meditate upon this and respect all paths. Thank you very much.